I told you about everything included in today's list, you'd probably look at me with skeptical eyes. However, I also wouldn't blame you, because today's video is filled with things so amazing and so unbelievable, you'd have to see them to believe them. From toddlers swimming with sharks to the deepest living fish, gotta stay tuned to the end to know more about that one, here are 10 things you wouldn't believe to be possible if they weren't filmed. Number 10. Almost swallowed by a whale. Whales have always been considered as gentle giants by us humans, and that's how they've been always depicted in books, film, and TV. Well, except for Moby Dick, but that guy had some serious issues. Anyhow, although they are the largest creatures on Earth, we don't necessarily expect an attack from them. But the truth is, there have been many documented cases of whales attacking boats. Whether or not the attacks were intentional or accidental, we can't say. Getting too close to them while feeding is a big risk as well, and that's exactly what 2 kayakers found out. 2 kayakers on a whale-watching adventure off the coast of California got the scare of their lives when a humpback whale came up from below and nearly swallowed them. One of the kayakers had her phone out at the time and managed to capture the experience on camera. Other whale watchers in the area managed to capture the incident on camera too, and from their vantage points it looked like the kayakers had gotten swallowed. The 2 were safe though and were simply thrown overboard by the whale. Number 9. Swimming with sharks. Okay, so swimming with sharks isn't actually a new thing. You can actually find many water parks that offer this experience, but they make sure that you don't run the risk of losing a limb while swimming with these denizens of the deep. For starters, the sharks in these shark swimming attractions are relatively safe to swim with. Swimming with wild sharks, however, isn't really a good idea, especially with great white sharks. Seriously, have you seen how big those guys can get? And also not to mention their teeth. Anyways, killer reputations aside, one woman and a group of her friends were determined to swim along with one of these monster predators, and they caught it all on video. In this video, you can see Ocean Ramsey swimming through the blue waters of the Pacific, roughly 15 miles north of Oahu, Hawaii. She's swimming with a few friends, and one of them kinda sticks out like a sore thumb. A massive great white shark swimming is less than a few feet away from swimmers. When the video was released, it immediately raised concerns among many marine biologists. They feared that the video would lead to many people believing that it's actually quite safe to swim with one of these beasts, something that we all know isn't true. Number 8. Living floating city. Believe it or not, there are floating cities under the ocean, and scientists have captured them on cam. But they're not quite the cities that you'd expect, because these cities are comprised of living, breathing microorganisms. The creature was identified to be a siphonophore, which isn't really a single animal, but a collection of many tiny creatures which are highly specialized to do a specific task, all of which working together for the survival of the colony. They are deep-sea predators that feed by dangling stinging tentacles in the water. Small crustaceans and fish unlucky enough to swim into this curtain of tentacles are paralyzed and reeled up to the body of the colony. Being made up of possibly millions of individuals, siphonophores have the potential to grow to massive sizes, but this one is the longest so far, measuring an estimated 150 feet long. Number 7. 2 seas converge. We all know that oil and water don't mix, but how about water and water? On the northern tip of Jutland, Denmark, lies the wonder that is Grenland Beach. Perhaps you've heard about this before. It's the place where 2 seas meet but never mix. The Baltic Sea and the North Sea meet at some point and causes a line of white foam to appear on the surface of the water. It's an incredible natural phenomenon caused by the difference in densities and salinities of the 2 seas. At the point where they meet, an interesting exchange of sediments occur. Somewhere near the surface, small parcels of the water from both seas converge, causing tiny bubbles to be formed. The bubbly foam then creates a line that shows the border of the Baltic Sea and the North Sea. No matter how much they crash together again and again though, they never lose themselves into one another. They stay the same, but they're able to create this magnificent thing between them. The coming together of 2 seas carrying waters from different parts of the world has never been this breathtaking. Number 6. Ice Finger of Death. Although already known since the 1960s, wrinkles are rarely observed in real time. Also called the icy finger of death, this phenomenon only occurs in specific conditions in the polar regions of the Earth, under blocks of floating sea ice. Unlike frozen freshwater, ice on the ocean surface is composed of 2 elements. The ice crystal is relatively pure, as the water excludes most of the salt during the freezing process. The remaining salty water stays liquid due to its lowered freezing temperature. This then creates highly saline brine channels within the porous ice block. A wrinkle is formed when this sea ice cracks and leaks out the saline water to the open oceans. As the brine is heavier than the water around it, it sinks to the ocean floor while freezing the relatively fresh water it comes into contact with. This process lets the brinkle grow downward. Occasionally, a brinkle may reach the sea floor as recorded in this video. As it grows, it catches various bottom-dwelling creatures around it, such as sea urchins and starfish. Number 5. Underwater crop circle. Crop circles are no longer surprising to most of us. If one of these things pop up in a cornfield somewhere, we immediately think of some farmers' kids who have too much time on their hands. However, when these strange patterns started appearing underwater, it raised a few eyebrows. Divers off the coast of Japan started seeing the weird patterns in 1995, each one about 7 feet in diameter. This seemed like another sign aliens were hanging out on Earth, only now they were drawing weird pictures in the sand. It's a weird pastime for aliens, but fortunately for their reputation, it turns out there's a perfectly natural explanation. Although I do gotta admit that the actual explanation is no less weird than the aliens did it. Male pufferfish actually create these circles in order to attract a mate. I'm not sure how a female pufferfish judges these circles, but it seems that she has her standards. Once she selects the coolest looking around them, she lays her eggs and swims away, leaving the male to raise the kids by himself. Talk about a deadbeat mother. Number 4. The Julia Sound. A bizarre sound was recorded on March 1st, 1999 by the U.S. National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, or NOAA. It was officially allowed to be heard over the entire equatorial Pacific Ocean Autonomous Hydrophone Array for at least 3,000 miles. The unidentified sound lasted for about 15 seconds. Due to the uncertainty of the arrival azimuth, the point of origin could be between Bransfield Straits and Cape Adare. Many scientists speculate that the sound was caused by a giant Antarctic iceberg running into the seafloor. However, many are skeptical about that simple explanation. The main reason is that around the time of the sound's recording, NASA's 33A5 was able to capture a photo that shows a giant shadow swaying through the southwest section of Cape Cadre. The photos are still classified, so you won't be able to find it anywhere. However, there are reports that the shadow was twice the size of the Empire State Building. Number 3. The Squid from Hell. The vampire squid, known to scientists as Vampira toothus infernalis, looks like something that swam out of a late-night science fiction movie. But in spite of its monstrous name, it's a small creature growing to only about 6 inches in length. The vampire squid's body is covered with light-producing organs called photophores. This gives the squid the unique ability to turn itself on or off, at will through a chemical process known as bioluminescence. When the photophores are off, the squid is completely invisible in the dark waters where it lives. The squid has incredible control over these light organs, and it has the ability to modulate the size and intensity of the photophores to create complex patterns that can be used to disorient predators and attract prey. Not much is known about the feeding and mating habits of the vampire squid, mostly because observing them in their natural habitat for a prolonged period of time is virtually impossible. So any footage of them like the one you're seeing is very valuable to scientists. Now it's time for today's best pick. Today's pick is about an underwater pastime that's becoming more and more popular to thrill seekers the world over. So just how young is the youngest to go shark cage diving? Find out next with number 2. Kid goes shark diving. Manila G5 and Dorothy G7 are the eldest children of the Instagram and YouTube sensation Bucket List family. They recently embarked on their first shark cage dive, showing off how peaceful these often misjudged creatures can be. However, the stunt has sparked controversy, with some accusing the parents of behaving irresponsibly. Speaking to Australian website Traveller.com travel writer Deborah Dixon-Smith raised her concerns about the decision. She commented that diving is definitely a perfect activity for children and their parents to bond on, but also expressed her concern regarding letting their kids swim with sharks, way before they're even old enough for the youngest level of dive training. Although there was no indication in the video that the kids were in any immediate danger, many people who saw the video voiced the same concern as Smith's. Before we move on, do me a favor. My analytics show that only about 15% of you watching are actually subscribed. Come on guys, what's up with that? Can you guys please hit the subscribe button? You guys watch my videos every day anyway, so you might as well subscribe and keep up to date with every video we put out. Number 1. MARIANA snailfish. It's cute, almost pink and about twice as long as a cigar, with flesh so translucent you can see its liver from the outside. And it's the deepest fish ever caught. What you're looking at is officially the deepest dwelling fish ever seen, the MARIANA snailfish. They were first caught in 2014, but only fully described in 2017. Just how deep do these fish live, though? Well, officially, they can be found in waters as deep as 7,966 meters. That region of the ocean is called the Hadal Zone, a dark, frigid environment where the water pressure is so high, even the sturdiest of submarines get crushed. They are currently considered the deepest living fish ever, and although the ocean floor still extends for about 2 miles down, scientists suspect they are unlikely to find any more fish that live much deeper. Were you amazed by any of these discoveries? Let us know your favorite down in the comments section below. Also, why don't you dive into the rest of the channel's amazing videos? As always, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Later, everybody!